Bruce Blackwood believes in second chances.
He would meet somebody on the street and become their friend. He was just a great person that way.
On the second and the third floor. That's where we need your expertise, huh, Luis?
Expertise? I like that.
He was a handyman, so he decided to give him a break.
But sometimes, when you give a break to a stranger,
he felt that he should have gotten more money out of him.
the stranger breaks you instead.
Take it easy. I'll take it easy when you stick to your job.
He did not deserve that. It was just a horror. It's a horrible situation.
Sir.
There had been somebody found dead and bloody.
It's not about committing the perfect crime. It's how well you clean it up.
When death comes knocking, no one is safe. This Monday morning begins like any other for Bruce Blackwood as he gets ready for his 11 a.m. shift.
Mr. Blackwood worked for OTB, which is off-track betting, for the city of New York. He was a manager of one of their branches.
It was a restaurant where you could bet, eat, and have fun. He was a supervisor of that particular place. He was a pretty good employee. I don't know his attendance record, but he was very good in coming to work.
Until now.
Bruce Blackwood calls OTB and informs them that he had fallen coming out of the bathtub.
Hello?
Hi, it's Bruce. I fell in the shower and I hit my head. I gotta go get it checked. Okay? I'll let you guys know, okay? Bye.
He had to go to the hospital. It was a strange phone call.
By Wednesday, Bruce still hasn't returned to work, and nobody's heard from him.
It's Diane again. Call me back?
Mr. Blackwood had been missing now for 3 days, and his family and close friends were very concerned. One of them in particular was named Diane Smith.
After failing to find him at his home in Queens, his close friend Diane Smith goes to check on him at the Brooklyn brownstone he's been renovating. But he's not there either. She sees Bruce's car, but instead of Bruce at the wheel,
Hey!
there are two strangers inside.
Officer! Officer, that car belongs to my friend Bruce, and I don't think those people inside are friends of his.
She tells him that the gentleman who owns that car, Mr. Blackwood, is missing, and that the guy that's driving it may have stolen his car.
Cálmate. Calm down. It's okay. It's not a stolen car. We have the keys.
He had given him the keys to the car and told him to move it from one side of the street to the other.
Good afternoon, officer. What seems to be the problem?
What's your name in connection to this vehicle? That woman over there says this car isn't yours.
Yeah, this is Bruce Blackwood's car. I am Luis Perez, his building manager, and I live on the 3rd floor of that brownstone right there. This is Ira Malone. She lives on the 2nd floor.
When was the last time you saw Mr. Blackwood?
I haven't seen him in a couple of days, but I was just making sure that his car was parked okay.
So that he didn't get a ticket for alternate side of the street parking.
He works with Mr. Blackwood, ma'am.
The story satisfies the police, but not Diane Smith.
She knew something was wrong because Bruce wouldn't let anybody drive his car. He didn't loan his car to anyone.
Diane calls Bruce's brother Ed to share her concerns.
And they asked me, had you heard from my brother? Had you heard from Bruce? And I said, no.
Look, I'm really worried. He's not here. We have to do something.
So then, we took it to the next step where I filed a missing persons report.
He was a personable guy who had a lot of friends. We realized that he had not spoken to anybody in over 3 days. That was very, very unusual. We at that time really believed that foul play was involved in his disappearance.
An investigation is launched, and the first step, getting to know Bruce Blackwood.
Yeah, Detective Pelen here.
2 years earlier, Bruce has retired from a 30-year career as a flight attendant.
He was very cultured and had visited a lot of places.
Bruce loved clothes. He loved music. He loved decorating.
He wasn't rich, but I would say that as a single person with no children, that he was upper middle class.
To keep it that way, instead of embracing retirement, he takes a new job at off-track betting. And he adds a sideline business to make even more money.
He was an entrepreneur in real estate. He bought property, he invested money in his property, and he became a landlord.
He had the building in Brooklyn. He owned a couple of co-ops. He was really excited about having these properties. He'd always say to me, "Oh, I'm not gonna eat cat food when I get old."
He was still young enough to work, so why not?
His latest project is a co-op in the Bronx.
The neighborhood was changing. Those were very grand apartments, but they were old, and a lot of them needed updating.
Bruce gets the project started, but it's soon understaffed and over budget, until fate intervenes.
Is this one yours?
Yeah, we were behind as always.
Hey, it doesn't have to be like that. Luis Perez, I'm a handyman.
You don't say. Work around here?
Sort of. I'm looking after my mother. She lives in the area.
It was a chance meeting on the street, and they struck up a conversation.
Are you looking for help?
Are you looking for work?
Si, senor.
Luis Perez had told Mr. Blackwood that he was trying to get his own apartment.
Let's go take a look.
Establish his business a little bit better. So he gave Luis Perez an opportunity to do a couple of small jobs at that particular brownstone.
This is looking great.
I told you.
Luis Perez was a pretty smart individual. He definitely did good work. His skills in the construction industry were pretty good.
We're good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Bruce is impressed, both with the quality of the handyman's work and with the cost.
My brother was tight with his money. He's a penny pincher, He was a penny pincher.
Mr. Blackwood had said that Perez was a hardworking guy. He, at that point, developed some kind of trust with Luis Perez.
Looks pretty good out here. But on the inside, needs lots of work. On the first floor, we have a couple of old ladies. We're not gonna bug them, but
On the second and third floor? That's where we need your expertise, huh, Luis?
Expertise. I like that. Vamos.
I believe they got along because each one was benefiting each other.
Perez was gonna moved in to be the custodian in the building and do all the repairs to apartments. I believe that Bruce was gonna pay him just a little bit of money, but he was gonna live there in the building rent-free.
He felt that Luis Perez could handle the projects that needed to be done. They needed to renovate the bathroom, the kitchen, and other parts of that particular apartment.
It's soon clear that this is more than a one handyman job.
How's it going?
Slower than I'd like.
Let me guess. You know a guy.
Yeah, and he's good.
Bruce Blackwood may have just made a deal with the devil.
Luis Perez couldn't do all the work by himself.
I was getting very suspicious about him.
Brooklyn landlord Bruce Blackwood has been missing for days, and the police are investigating all of his relationships.
Is this one yours?
Yeah.
Including one with his contractor, Luis Perez.
It doesn't have to be like that. Luis Perez, I'm a handyman.
Let me guess. You know a guy.
Yeah, and he's good.
Just as long as it doesn't cost me extra money.
Oh, no. You pay me, I pay him.
Is that the deal?
Yeah.
All right then, deal. Okay.
Luis sets out to find the cheapest possible laborers in the 5 boroughs.
Oh yeah. I got a paying gig. Are you handy?
I am.
I'm looking.
Martin Fernandez. Call me Shorty.
I can see why. When can you start?
Now?
Vamos.
Martin Fernandez was a hard-working guy. He might have been bringing the sheetrock in, ripping down the walls.
Shorty has had some hard times.
But he would show up for work and was able to do what Perez expected him to do. He and Perez hit off a friendship at that time. He actually met Mr. Blackwood, and Mr. Blackwood did not have a problem with him.
Hey, fellas.
Do you have our money for the week?
Not yet, but it's coming. It'll be here soon, okay, guys? Good job, boys.
No, está bien. Ya, sigue.
In just a few weeks, the 2 men have made major progress, and Bruce is thrilled.
Mr. Blackwood and Mr. Perez apparently had a good relationship up to that point, and he was pretty satisfied at the work that Luis Perez had done.
Oh, yeah. This is fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Looking really good.
We are almost
there you
finished.
Go. Lucky there's none left.
Hey, do you have a tenant in mind
Great
yet?
job. No, not yet. Great job, buddy. Not yet.
Because I can help you find someone.
No, that's okay.
No, really, I know some people.
Okay. That's a broker right now, okay?
Broker?
Thanks a lot. You did a fantastic job. He's gonna take care of this, okay? Thanks a lot, buddy.
But I know people too.
But it can't be just any tenant.
You must be Mr. Megan. Come on in.
For Bruce, real estate is an opportunity to make money and to help people.
Mr. Blackwood was trying to rent apartments to the city where they would place homeless people or homeless families that needed shelter. Pretty much welfare housing, where the city would subsidize the rent for those individuals who were in need of a place to live.
Looks good, huh?
To qualify, the apartments have to be approved by a broker.
When the broker came, he would have to inspect the apartment before he could lease it to someone, and he would make a commission off of it.
I'm glad you like it. Come this way, I'll show you the bedrooms.
The broker, Harry Megan, is thrilled to see the apartment is large enough for a whole family.
Mr. Megan would make commissions depending on the amount of people that he placed into those apartments. The more people that he could put into the apartment, the bigger his commission was.
But Megan isn't the only one trying to find a tenant for the second floor. Luis Perez goes to the city's homeless shelters to see if he can help speed up the process.
The quicker that someone moved into the apartment, the faster they'd be able to receive money to pay the mortgage that Bruce was paying on the properties.
Mr. Blackwood placed a lot of trust in Mr. Perez. Even allowed Mr. Perez to interview or come back with a recommendation for someone to occupy one of the apartments in his building.
Luis Perez very quickly finds someone to recommend for the large second-floor unit, an attractive young woman named Iris Malone.
You know the mass shelters around the corner?
I wouldn't know.
Iris Malone was, I'd say in her late 20s. She had no children, and she was single. And apparently, Luis Perez and Iris Malone hit it off pretty good.
I'm actually here looking for someone to take over a subsidized brownstone. Do you know anyone?
What if I told you that someone could also put in windows, sheetrock, and any other such things?
I'd say I'd like to meet that person.
He told that to Mr. Blackwood. Mr. Blackwood said, okay, you want to hire her to help? Fine.
Next thing you know, Iris Malone is working, among other things, with Perez.
I wouldn't say they were boyfriend and girlfriend, but they definitely had a relationship. I don't know if Iris Malone was using Luis Perez to get into the second-floor apartment, or if Perez was just using her. But either way, they were feeding off each other.
Hey, Shorty.
He asked her if she would want to move in, and he gave his recommendation to Blackwood that he found this tenant and she would be a perfect fit for that apartment.
All to city broker Harry Megan's great surprise.
Who are you and where's Perez?
Well, I'm the new tenant, and he's on the 3rd floor.
Mr. Megan would have made more money had he put a single family into that unit.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? You should stick to your job.
What are you talking about?
I had an entire family. God, what is Blackwood thinking?
Whoa, take it easy.
Oh, take it easy when you stick to your job. Blackwood. Yeah, it's Megan here. Yeah, what are you letting Perez make all these decisions for? Huh?
Mr. Megan has to accept the deal, but he's angry. And soon he won't be the only one.
That guy's a jerk, man.
Things began to change in Mr. Perez's attitude at that point.
He was scheming on him. As simple as that. Greed.
I'm glad you like it. Come this way, I'll show you the bedrooms.
Real estate broker Harry Megan is incensed that Bruce Blackwood's handyman, Luis Perez, rented out an apartment to his girlfriend, Iris Malone, and cheated him out of a larger commission.
Blackwood. Yeah, it's Megan here. Yeah, what are you letting Perez make all these decisions for? Huh?
It's all getting to Bruce.
Mr. Blackwood became stressed over the properties, the construction projects, the money issues.
Hey, it's Megan. Calling to make sure we avoid a similar situation on the 3rd floor. Please call me back.
He never spoke to me about any rising tensions, but I sensed he was very on edge. He had been starting to be late to work.
Hey, it's Tina. What's going on, Bruce? You're late for work. Come on. Where are you?
Hey, Tina. Yeah, everything's good. I'm on my way, okay? I'll be there shortly.
I would ask him, Bruce, are you okay? And he'd be like, yeah, it's all good, girl. It's all good. And I'm like, okay, I'm here if you need me. I was getting very suspicious about him because he had been acting a little strange, like very stressed out.
Bruce isn't alone in acting strangely.
Hey, chica! We're going to lay some pipe today? Huh?
Iris Malone The tenant who moved into the second floor apartment was actually using Luis Perez for her benefit, and it worked. She got the apartment, and she really wanted to cut off the relationship she had with him.
She really wasn't interested in him, and she was now living in the second floor apartment, and she kind of spurned his advances.
Luis is broken-hearted and just plain broke.
Hey, hombre, you look like somebody just ripped you off. Which reminds me, you got any money for me?
What? No, not yet.
Hey, come on.
I don't know whether or not he was consistently paid on time, but then he began to complain that he was not getting enough money.
It's Bruce, hombre. He doesn't pay me enough to cover both of us.
Luis Perez was upset that he was not getting what he deserved for the work that was completed, and the fact that he rented the apartment.
That guy's a jerk, man.
That he was owed money for work that was done, and that Blackwood better pay him.
My brother and Perez made an agreement on the price to repair the apartment.
Just as long as it doesn't cost me extra money.
Oh, no. You pay me, I pay him.
Perez then went and hired one or two other workers to help him, which he didn't have enough money in order to pay them. So he approached my brother to get some more money, and my brother wasn't going to accept that.
Weeks later, Bruce gives the guys a chance to earn money in other ways.
All right, fellas.
Odd jobs. Painting, take down Christmas lights, little odd jobs.
Right, it's the living area. There's just a couple of patches to take care of that way. I'm gonna let you guys see the kitchen. It's right back here.
My brother was tight. He brought Luis Perez into the house to do some housework. He thought my brother had all this money.
Mr. Blackwood went to run a couple of errands and told him he'd be back in a little while.
2 days later, Bruce calls in sick.
Hello?
Hi, it's Bruce. I fell and I hit my head.
I was really worried about him.
The police are brought in.
And, you know, after 3 days, I mean, statistically speaking, it's not good. You know, if they don't find you in 3 days, then it's not going to be a pretty outcome.
Steve Pelen is one of 3 detectives assigned to the case, and he hits it hard.
We immediately did hospital checks. We checked records for accidents.
Yeah, it's Pelen here. Yeah, it's about Blackwood, Blackwood. Yeah, anything you can find. Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, cheers.
We went above and beyond trying to track where Bruce Blackwood was at that particular time.
They can't find Bruce, but they do know where his car was last seen.
We went up to the 3rd floor apartment where Perez was staying.
So when was the last time you saw Mr. Blackwood?
Oh, that's easy. That's the time he asked me to move the car.
And that was the last time that Luis Perez said he saw or heard from Mr. Blackwood.
You, mind if we have a little look around?
Of course. Be my guest.
The apartment was pretty clean. It was painted. It was pretty well maintained.
Beyond that, a few oddities stand out.
I walked into the back room with him, and I could see there was a fur coat there, a couple of pill bottles. I picked up one of the pill bottles, and it had Martin Fernandez's name on it. I asked Luis if he knew who Martin Fernandez was. He goes, oh, yeah, it's a pill bottle that was left here by Shorty.
Who's, Martin Fernandez?
Those are Shorty's.
Shorty? Well, who's Shorty?
He used to help me with the renovations here, but with the pills and the drinking, he got loco. We had to let him go.
I asked him if he resided at that location with him. He said no, that they had fallen out because he was a drug addict and he belonged to a gang. And him and Bruce decided to just let him go.
But if Shorty was let go, where is he now?
He described himself as having an anger problem.
It was pretty bad. I mean, they didn't do a fist fight, but real bad. Really, really bad.
Brooklyn landlord Bruce Blackwood has been missing for days.
It's Bruce. I fell in the shower and I hit my head.
As police investigate, they learn about Martin Shorty Fernandez, a handyman that Bruce may have just fired.
Who's Martin Fernandez?
He used to help me with the renovations here, but with the pills and the drinking, he got loco. We had to let him go.
Seeking more concrete evidence, Detective Steve Pelen heads out to Bruce's home in Queens to talk to neighbors. One of whom has quite the story to tell.
Ready to get to it, guys?
Oh, we're ready. But we're not square.
What do you mean?
What he means is he can't pay me at your rates.
What? Your business is with him, not me. Louis, you agreed to these rates.
Yes, at first, but look at this place, the work we do. Look at this jack at your car. I mean, this has to stop.
Now, what are you saying?
What he's saying is you're cheap, man.
Hey, okay, guys, we'll take care of this when I get back, okay?
Oh, no, we won't.
One of the neighbors heard them arguing, and it got heated.
It was pretty bad. I mean, they didn't do a fist fight, but real bad. Really, really bad.
Since the fight was over money, the detectives follow the trail to Bruce's longtime credit union.
13 forged checks. That's a lot of money taken from his account. $7,700.
They're shocked by what they learn from the manager.
She informed us that she knew Bruce Blackwood for years and that he had just been there a couple of days before.
Bruce Blackwood checked his bank balance just about every day.
Mr. Blackwood was a very smart man, and he was very conscious about his monies.
So when he sees mystery withdrawals totaling almost $8,000, he goes straight to see the manager. The checks are written out to two familiar names.
We know that the checks were made out to Luis Perez and Martin Fernandez.
There's even security footage showing the men cashing the fraudulent checks.
We got detailed video photos of Luis Perez cashing 12 of the checks and Martin Fernandez cashing the other check. Luis Perez was wearing a fur coat. There was also the same fur coat that I observed in his apartment.
While this points to Luis Perez and Martin Fernandez, it doesn't tell the police anything about Bruce, who's now been missing for several weeks.
I prayed myself to sleep, and I just was praying to him, just come to me and tell me you're okay.
The police track Fernandez to a homeless shelter, and he makes a shocking admission.
The guy was nickel and diming us. So it seemed like a good idea at the time, but it was all Betty's. It wasn't me.
Guys, we'll take care of this when I get back, okay?
Oh, no, we won't.
Hey! You're not going anywhere until you pay us, cabron!
Hey, listen. I have nothing on me here, okay? I have a meeting to go to. When I get back, we'll resolve this.
Yeah, we'll resolve this today. Hey, ya, déjalo. Nos va a pagar después.
Okay. When I get back, guys, okay? We'll take care of it, okay?
No more free work, Shorty. He's gonna pay us today.
What Perez did was he went through my brother's personal stuff and found checkbooks.
Mr. Perez realized he wasn't getting either what he was promised or what he thinks he deserved. And he found checks, and he began to write checks to himself.
I believe he was, jealous of Bruce's success.
Perez admits to the forgery, but claims to know nothing about Blackwood's whereabouts.
You got nothing. Nothing!
The police arrest Luis Perez and Martin Fernandez for the bad checks, and they get a warrant to search Perez's apartment.
On the date that we decided to arrest Luis Perez, we put together a mini task force. We brought a cadaver dog, we brought the crime scene unit, we brought additional detectives, and we converged on a Hancock Street address. We had a search warrant to search the entire premise.
So obviously they came into that house with the idea that they're trying to find something to connect Perez to the disappearance of Mr. Blackwood. They used chemicals that the FBI uses to trace for blood. They did fingerprint testing. They even cut drain pipes out of the bathtub, and they took plumbing out, looking for traces of blood, looking for traces of bone. I've been doing this for a long time, and the crime scene unit that came in did the most thorough job.
It's not long before investigators make a disturbing discovery.
Looky here.
In his room, I looked down on the floor, and I could see peepholes, drilled holes in the floor to look into the apartment below it. I looked through, and those peepholes were directly above Iris Malone's bed.
I'm liking this Lewis character.
It all adds up to a damning indictment of Luis Perez's character. But it doesn't bring them any closer to finding Bruce.
We at that time really believed that foul play was involved in his disappearance. But we just never found any DNA or any part of Mr. Blackwood.
So the investigation continues.
I had dumped and subpoenaed the records for Luis Perez's cell phone. And on the date of Mr. Blackwood's disappearance on March 6th, I saw that Mr. Megan and Mr. Perez had talked on 8 different occasions that afternoon. So at that point, I believed that Megan, Fernandez, and Perez were all persons of interest in this investigation.
Police also catch up with Iris Malone, who had fled the apartment just days after breaking it off with Perez.
She felt as though she was being spied on. She just didn't feel comfortable anymore.
But it turns out she barely knew Bruce Blackwood. The same is true for broker Harry Megan.
Mr. Megan never dealt with Bruce. He dealt directly with Perez.
Megan offers up a simple explanation for the phone calls.
Mr. Megan had requested on numerous occasions to see that 3rd floor apartment. Luis Perez would not let him in to see it.
As the search for Bruce Blackwood stalls, police charge Luis Perez and Martin Fernandez with check fraud.
We charged both Fernandez and Perez with grand larceny. Both of them took pleas. Luis Perez was sentenced to 2 to 4 years for the grand larceny. Martin Fernandez was sentenced to 1 to 3 years for his part in the grand larceny.
Jail is a familiar setting for Luis Perez. As Detective Steve Pelen discovers, the handyman is not a first-time or a small-time criminal.
Luis Perez was a very violent person. He had done over 10 years in jail in Massachusetts. He was convicted of kidnapping his daughter,
Sir, step out of the car. Get out of the car.
Okay, I have my baby with me though.
Sir, I'm gonna need to take you in for questioning.
Fine, I will go. You have me, but you have to take my baby. I can't just sit her down.
Sir, nobody's gonna take your baby,
Here.
sir. Sir,
No,
sir,
you have.
let me see your hand.
It's
Sir,
my ID.
let me see
I'm
your
getting my wallet.
Sir,
That's all
I
I'm
don't
getting
need
is
this.
my wallet.
Keep your hands. Sir,
He then used the one-year-old child as a shield, and he stabbed the Mass State Trooper.
Suspect's getting away. I need backup.
That was the last time that Luis saw his daughter. For the next year, as Perez and Martinez sit in jail, Bruce's friends and family do their best to cope.
We were praying for his soul, and we didn't have a body. So we were saying goodbye to his soul and praying that he was at peace.
The case goes cold.
They did not have a body, and then nobody wanted to touch it. You know, they, as in terms of the cold case people, they gave up on it.
Yet Bruce's brother Ed doesn't give up, and neither does Detective Steve Pelen.
When I retired from the New York City Police Department, I took a copy of this case folder because it meant a lot to me. It bothered me because Ed Blackwood was distressed that his brother had disappeared and no one seemed to care. The case was still being held as a missing. It wasn't ruled a homicide.
Until one newspaper article changes everything.
The police told her, we know who you are, we know who your father is.
Now we figured he's out of the limelight. These people will start talking to us.
Bruce Blackwood has been missing for 5 years. Police are never able to find him or his body. Until a newspaper article helps spark new interest in a very cold case. And a strange daughter of Bruce Blackwood's former handyman happens to read it. Not the little girl that Luis Perez kidnapped, but another daughter he'd abandoned years before.
After the article was featured in the paper, Ingrid Perez read the article, takes it upon herself to go to the police department.
Luis Perez has served his time for the grand larceny and is again a free man.
And out of nowhere, he showed up and he befriended her again.
And in befriending her, Luis Perez starts to boast about many things, including getting away with murder.
Ingrid Perez took it upon herself to actually tape record her father confessing to this murder. I can't really say exactly why, but I believe that she was trying to do the right thing.
He's just showing off. Like he can get away with murder.
Problem is, the tapes are very hard to understand.
It scares me.
You could hear a lot of background noise just crumbling. You could hear airplanes, you could hear sirens. She was given another tape recorder.
As Ingrid cues up the recording device and prepares to solicit a second confession from her dad, the case is reopened.
We brought in Martin Fernandez.
Perez, he really had it in for Bruce. He was loco, man. Loco. Talking about threatening him, robbing him, making him give us his PIN number.
He resides in Massachusetts now. He no longer does drugs. And he went into detail as to what Perez's intentions were to do to Mr. Blackwood.
He wanted me to help him, hurt him, kill him.
He wanted to tie him up, beat him, take his PIN numbers from him, and God knows what else he had planned. And Martin didn't want to have anything to do with it.
We tie him up, we take his PIN, and if he doesn't cooperate... Whoa, you're crazy, man. Yo, if the cops find out, I just don't... Hey, don't say a word. ¿Entiendes? ¡Cállate!
Shorty believed Perez would either kill him or have him killed if he said anything. In time, Iris Malone is also ready to tell all to the Cold Case Squad.
Iris Malone opened up and kind of gave us more information that she was holding back on because she said she was petrified of Perez.
If you tell anyone about this, you will be next. Go!
She saw Luis Perez was taking part in electrical saw. She asked him what he was doing, and he said that Bruce Blackwood is gone. I went to work on his body, and if you tell anyone, the same thing will happen to you.
Then the most crucial evidence from Luis Perez's daughter, who manages to record 3 hours of conversations with her father.
You know, one of the most important things in life is not to dwell on things that cannot be fixed.
You mean like that thing you're telling me about?
That is only one example, yes.
Why'd you do it?
Mr. Blackwood goes to the credit union concerning the $7,700 that was taken out of his account. He was informed by the manager 12 of them were made out in the name of Luis Perez and one to Martin Fernandez.
He should have went right down to the police station and filed a complaint and whatnot. But his mistake was that he approached him and told him what he was going to do. He shouldn't have did that.
Yeah.
This was you.
He was coming after me with accusations of bum checks. He was going to call the police and send me to jail. I was not going back to jail, okay?
You're going to jail.
No, I'm not.
Hey, okay. Hey, take it easy.
Get your phone. You're calling in sick today. Do it now.
Okay. Hi, it's Bruce.
The last phone call he made was made from his cellular phone, not his house phone. He did not fall in the bathtub. He was probably being beaten at that point by Luis Perez.
His voice on that sick call was disturbing. He was scared.
The only outlet he saw was to kill Bruce Blackwood.
So we struggled, I knocked him down, I put my hands around his neck and I squeezed. I squeezed and squeezed and then oh, snap. It was over.
And what did you do with the body?
I took the body to the bathtub. Stupid, man. The limbs, I put them in bags.
Apparently he was able to put the remains into garbage bags, mixed it in with construction debris, had his worker take it downstairs, and Department of Sanitation removed it.
But then I cleaned up with bleach.
He spent hours meticulously cleaning up this crime scene.
It's this last part that Perez seems most proud of.
Perez had said to his daughter, it's not about committing the perfect crime. It's how well you clean it up.
The evidence is presented to a grand jury who believes there is enough to charge Luis Perez with second-degree murder. 8 years after Bruce Blackwood's disappearance, Perez is arrested again.
They said, you're under arrest for the Blackwood case.
I already did my time.
And he said, I did my time already for that. He said, not for the murder.
And a year later, Luis Perez is found guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced to 25 years in prison.
After he realized that those tapes were made by his daughter, those recordings were made by his daughter, I think he became pretty much resigned to the fact that he was going to be convicted and spending a very long time in jail.
When I found out that he had dismembered him, I mean, that really tore me to pieces. Then I realized that I was dealing with a monster. Even the judge said, you convicted yourself to tell your daughter that you killed my brother. And you can't imagine what went through my mind. I mean, if I had a damn pipe, I'd have busted his head open.
It breaks my heart to think about how much he would love to have lived and how much he wanted to live and enjoyed life, and to have to die this way is just so horrible.
I believe wherever my brother's at, he realizes now that the crime was vindicated, and I'm sure that he's rested. He's at ease.